Hi, everyone, and welcome to Indeed Live. I'm Abby Carlton, and it's great to be back with you again this week. If you are new to our live stream, I am Indeed's Director of Social Impact. So that means that I lead our work on how we are looking to address bias and barriers in hiring globally. And we do that through product innovation, through strategic partnerships, and through efforts in our community. Really glad that you joined us here today. If you've been here before or if you're new, welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, this brings me to our tip of the week. If you are interested in changing careers, set goals, do your research, and be adaptable. So let's break that down piece by piece. In order to set goals, first you want to get really clear about what you're looking for. To do that, I would suggest thinking about your current job or your most recent job and making a list of the elements that you really liked or were really important to you about that job, and conversely, the things that you didn't like. And I would just say make that list as comprehensive as possible to start. After you've done that, you can take that list and use it to pull out a shorter list of the factors that will be most important to you in your next role. That could be things like flexible hours, compensation, whether you'd like to work solo or in a team setting, remote, and so on. Once you've done that, you can start to do some research on the types of jobs that could meet your needs. Approaching a job search with this needs-based mindset may help you zero in on really what you're looking for in that career transition. And if you're still not sure where to start, or you just want to get a broad sense of different options, I'd encourage you to check out indeed.com/career. You can go there, learn more about different jobs, their average salary, typical career paths. It's a great way to just explore and learn more. Another great way to do research is through your network. If you know people in a field that you're considering and you want to learn more, don't be afraid to reach out to them and see if they're willing to chat. And we'll add down in the comments below, we have a link to an Indeed career guide article that has examples of questions that you can ask in one of these informational interviews where you're just trying to have that first conversation and learn more. So check that out. Essentially, you want to use this conversation to think about what are your needs and your expectations and how well do they line up with the role that you might be considering. And sometimes you're going to discover either in those conversations or in a role that it isn't a good fit. I can share, earlier in my career, I thought that I wanted to be a researcher, and I got a job in that space. And I'll say after trying that out, I realized that it was really important to me. That was a very sort of solo job, individual contributor job, and I really wanted to work in a team setting. And so I ended up finding a new job that met that need for me. So it's just really helpful to explore and get as clear a picture as possible of what it's going to feel like to make that transition and have that new role. So you can get a sense, hopefully even before you're on the job, if you think it's going to be a good fit. If you don't have personal connections in a field, we have a couple of resources for you. You can consider going to one of our Indeed community threads where you can learn about different roles, talk to people there about the jobs that they have or have had. We also have a YouTube series that's called Career Paths, which explores different industries and jobs. So you might find that helpful. You can go to the Indeed YouTube page to find that, as well as past videos from our Facebook Lives. By doing all of this research on the front end, you're more likely to get a sense of whether a new career is going to be a good fit for you, and that research is just going to help you stand out in the interview. So that leads me to the final part of this tip, which is to be adaptable. First and foremost, I would really urge you to consider how you can reframe your prior experience in another field as preparation for what you aim to do now. All experience is good experience. So you just need to do that work if you're considering a career transition from one role, one sector to another, to think about how do you connect the dots for a potential employer so you can show them how the experience and skills you have in your last role map to this new job. Go back to think about your transferable skills. We've talked about this before. Make a list of those hard and soft skills that you have learned and that you've demonstrated in past roles. And think about how those would equip you well here, even if the role itself on the face looks somewhat different than what you've done before. And then just make sure that those strengths show up in your application in a way that the employer can see. They go through a lot of applications a day, so you just want to make it as easy as possible for them to get that relevant information quickly. Put it in your cover letter, use your cover letter to succinctly explain your past experience, how it prepared you for this role. And then I'd wrap up that cover letter with a couple of brief sentences summarizing why you're pivoting and why you think that your unique background would be an asset for this new employer. Refresh your resume with that same mindset. You want to take out any buzzwords that might have been really particular to your last job or industry and describe your past work experience in ways that will show that they could be clearly useful to your new role. For example, let's say you were a personal assistant and now you're applying for a sales role. You can highlight how of the learnings that you took away around things like communication or organization, prioritization, things that will be relevant in this new role as well. And then start applying. It's a good idea to include relevant keywords from the job description in your resume, if applicable. And we talked about this a couple of episodes back. So if you want to do a deeper dive on refreshing your resume, check out we have a COVID-19 updates playlist that's part of our YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/Indeed, go to that COVID-19 updates list, and you can see all the past episodes as well as other relevant content from this series. Okay, so to recap, if you're switching careers, get clear on your needs, do your research, and think about how to frame your past experiences in ways that show your value and the value that you can bring to new employers. Okay, that is all for our live stream today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you will join us next week for another update. We hope you found this helpful, and we will see you soon. Thanks.